Hey! Today, I'm going to be interviewing EvroDev. Evro is one of the main developers at Labworks. Now, Labworks is a mod for Bonelab which ports the entirety of Boneworks into Bonelab. I'm going to be asking him what brought him to Labworks, what was the most difficult development processes, and what was the community responses like. Now, let's get into the first question is, what brought you to Labworks? Take it away, Evro.
I kind of got my start from modding by adding Bonelab things into Boneworks before Bonelab even released. And so I kind of wanted to continue that in a way by turning Boneworks into Bonelab. I originally made a kind of like a Labworks extension called Labworks. So back when Labworks was still in development, they didn't have all the maps. And so what I did, just to kind of show that I had some skill in this kind of porting area, is I took some of the maps that weren't yet in Labworks and I kind of rush ported them as Lateworks. And so people, if they didn't want to wait for Labworks to add the mods, they could download Lateworks for like kind of a almost good experience. There were like some lighting artifacts and stuff, but that definitely got me some recognition there. And then I helped set up the project for like collaboration, because originally it was just Volix working on Labworks. And so I helped him get it set up for collaboration, and then I've kind of mostly taken over the project since. But yeah, it's been porting things is a huge passion of mine in the game development space. So yeah. I think that the biggest challenge that I personally have had to tackle is the graphics of Labworks. A lot of people remember Labworks when it was still in its early stages, where there wasn't good lighting, all the materials had issues, and one of the things that I've spent a long time on for Labworks is getting a good-looking shader that accurately kind of recreates how Boneworks looked. And so we have this shader that me and Shortstack made called VR Standard, and it's basically a replication of the shading that they used in Boneworks, but to work with the new rendering pipeline that Bonelab uses. And so it's still a work in progress. I'm still making tweaks to it over the past few weeks, and so it's always a work in progress. And just about every update since I've joined has had some kind of graphical improvement. Aside from that, the hardest single challenge that I've had to tackle with Labworks was porting it to patch 4 and 5. We were really put on the clock when patch 4 released, because just about everything changed with the modding SDK, right? I had to learn the new zone system extremely quickly, because zones are one of the most important things for Labworks, and getting music and spawning working. And so I had to learn all of these things in about a month or two's time to get the update out for patch 5. But we were able to do it, and it's been pretty smooth sailing ever since. First thing that comes to mind for me is the Monomat. Back in patch 3, we had a kind of working version of the Monomat. SLZ had broken the script since it wasn't used in Bonelab, and so we kind of had to come up with our own Ultivent-based solution, which for people might not know, but Ultivents is like this kind of a way you can create custom logic without making custom scripts. When you purchase an item, how much ammo does it take from each section, and also trying to loop that back into the player's ammo inventory when there's not really an easy way to get that. So those are the main challenges. Funnily enough, patch 4 and 5 patch 4 actually added back the Monomat script in its full working order. And so for a period of development time, the Monomat just worked right out of the box without any extra logic. Unfortunately, in patch 5, the Monomat was removed, however. And so we've been trying to get a working version ever since, and the approach that I've been taking is, now that I have custom campaign tools that most people have installed, I've just been having some embedded code in there that will allow me to add the Monomat back to Labworks. And so I think that's probably the best way, just because the logic for it is really difficult, and it's a lot more difficult than people might originally assume, but still a work in progress. When SLZ announced that they were doing a Boneworks port, I wasn't quite sure what I'd do from there, but I'm obviously not gonna like just drop it where it stands at and not update it to patch 7. I want to do everything that I can to make it so that Quest 2 players at least can still play the latest version. When Labworks first came out, it was very rough around the edges. Volix was adding one level by one level, and so people would have the reason to download it every time it updated. But a lot of the community thought it just wasn't a good Boneworks port, because obviously if you look back at old Labworks screenshots, there's a lot to be desired when comparing it to Boneworks. And most of the YouTubers that made videos on Labworks were still on that old version. So some people will like go and see those old versions of Labworks and assume that Labworks is still kind of like bad looking like that. But of course, every update, it can only get better. So as the updates went on, the graphics have improved, the feature set has improved, and now Labworks really stands as a really good Boneworks port. There's still some people who think that Labworks kind of like looks bad just because they remember what it was 3 years ago. And so to those people, I invite you to check it out again, because it's gotten a lot better since probably the last time you saw it. I mean, it's all really great, and it's all kind of come together over time. If I had to pick one thing, I'm probably the most proud of the Time Tower level, just because that was kind of like my first introduction to kind of like expansive logic to recreate whatever game control that Boneworks had, and like game logic and stuff, because most of the stuff for Time Tower I had to make from scratch with like counting how many cores are put into the clock. My favorite technical achievement, I mentioned this before, but just the shader that we've made to get all of Labworks looking a lot better. That's been such a fun thing to work on, and learning shader development for that. It's probably my favorite technical achievement. It was really discouraging when SLZ announced their Boneworks port. Just right off the bat, it felt like that there would be no need for Labworks anymore, and so for a couple of days I was a little bit discouraged that like, oh, I won't get to work on this project anymore. That was definitely one time, and another time is just probably right smack in the middle of our updating for patch 4 and 5. It felt like we had so much to do. And SLZ was already like announcing their next patch, and so we thought that patch 5 was going to break a lot more than it did. Luckily it didn't, and it was really smooth transition after patch 4. But there was just so much that came about, and it was a little bit discouraging trying to get everything fixed for the new Bonelab updates. I think it's gonna be great. I'm personally really excited for, of course, inside-out body tracking. I own a Quest 3, so I'll have access to that, and I'm also really looking forward to their new locomotion system with the monofoot. Boneworks and Bonelab have had the same locosphere for the past, like basically its entire life cycle, and now we're getting an update with a completely changed locomotion system, and I'm really looking forward to really nitpicking in the details about like how that thing works, and like what effect it has on how the player like moves, jumps, and especially vaults, because Bonelab has quite the issue with the vaulting system. So that's probably my favorite feature, just the monofoot and everything. The reception to that mod is like beyond anything I could have expected. I've seen, I had a friend message me like the day after I made it, like he had found some TikTok edits of my mod, and I thought that was hilarious. Obviously, I feel like I'm not much of a Beyond Sandbox fan, and so I kind of wanted to just kind of people will see Beyond Sandbox and think that it's like a really advanced feature like this finger physics, because it appears nowhere in only like in Arkham Shadow, Batman Arkham Shadow, is there also finger physics. But I just wanted to kind of see how hard of a feature that really was to make, and I ended up making it in about a day or two. And yeah, the community's reception has been crazy. It's been everywhere on TikTok and YouTube, and I did not know it would blow up like this. I thought a couple people would download it and think it's cool, but yeah, it's crazy. I want to still keep working on Labworks, maybe expand my horizon with some other ports. Really enjoy doing porting projects and code mods as well, so I'm going to continue with those. And obviously, the Labworks team has been kind of moving forward with our own game, and so definitely I want to spend some time on that in the future. I've been pretty hands off from what they've been doing. I've been sticking back and working on the Labworks Boneworks port, while they've been working on version control and future projects. But I want to help out some more with that. Right now I've got college going on, so it's a bit hard for me to find time for everything. But yeah, once patch 7 comes out, I want to come back and do a lot more modding stuff. Continue working on custom campaign tools, because that's a tool that can be used by people other than just myself. And I know the Void Takeover team uses it a lot, and so I'm going to keep working on that, and just work on whatever I find fun, basically. Honestly, I see a lot of game developers, or modders specifically, Bonelab modders, trying to jump into the deep end before they've kind of grasped a lot of Unity concepts. And I think that's certainly a way to go about it. That's definitely what I did. I kind of jumped into the deep end with Labworks. But I think definitely the more experience you already have with Unity, the better your results are going to be, and the more fun you're going to have while doing it. So I think one of the things I'd say as well is like, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of helpful people in just about every community where you can make fan projects like we did with Labworks, and there's always a bunch of really helpful people in the modding space that are able to answer questions and stuff. Also, don't be afraid of trial and error. A lot of people I see, they'll ask questions that they could just try themselves. Just don't be afraid to try things on your own and just kind of figure it out as you go.
I think that might be all of my questions answers, and I would like to thank you so much for having this interview with me.
Yeah, of course. It was great. It was great to be here.